Are women being kidnapped in Dubai? Reality or myth? Every year, millions of people unpack their suitcases in one of the most glamorous destinations on the planet. Golden skyscrapers, infinity pools, private yachts. The city of the future. But in the shadows of that glittering paradise, a story has been terrorizing millions across the internet. Women disappear in Dubai. Don't go there alone. It's a trap. They kidnap tourists. Nobody talks about this. Videos with tens of millions of views. Viral threads shared like urgent warnings. So what is actually true? What is being hidden? And what is being wildly exaggerated? Someone spent weeks investigating this. And what they found changes everything you thought you knew. This is not a video designed to spread fear, nor is it tourism propaganda paid for by anyone. This is a serious analysis built on real data, verifiable statistics, and documented cases. Because in a world where the algorithm rewards terror over truth, someone has to do the work of separating fact from viral fiction. So, without further delay, let's get into it. Part 1. The viral phenomenon. First, it's important to understand exactly what is circulating on the internet, because this rumor didn't come from nowhere. For several years now, on platforms like TikTok, Instagram, Reddit, and YouTube, a story has been spreading that almost always follows the exact same pattern. A young woman receives a direct message. She's offered work as a model, a hostess, or a promotional representative in Dubai. All expenses paid, luxury hotel, dream salary, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. She accepts. She lands at the airport. She's greeted with smiles. And then, her passport is taken away. According to these stories, the victim finds herself trapped in a foreign country with no documents, no contacts, and no way out. A nightmare begins that nobody dares to speak about openly. These videos generate millions of interactions. The comment sections fill up with messages like, "This happened to a friend of mine," or "I know someone who almost fell into that exact trap." But here's the problem. When someone actually tries to track down those cases, to find names, dates, police reports, and official records, the verifiable details simply vanish. That doesn't automatically mean everything is a lie, but it does demand that one fundamental question be asked. What is actually documented? And what is urban legend, turbocharged by the algorithm? Part 2. What is actually documented? Now, to the facts. Because human trafficking in the United Arab Emirates does exist. It is documented. And it is real. Starting with labor trafficking. The United States Department of State, Human Rights Watch, and multiple United Nations agencies have published extensive reports on labor trafficking in the Emirates. However, the profile of victims in these cases bears absolutely no resemblance to a Western tourist arriving for a holiday. The victims are primarily migrant workers from South Asia, Sub-Saharan Africa, and Southeast Asia, construction workers, domestic employees, service industry staff. The system known as kafala, which governs the relationship between employers and foreign workers, has been widely criticized for granting employers disproportionate power over workers. Confiscated passports, withheld wages, dangerous working conditions, and no ability to change jobs or leave the country. It is a documented humanitarian crisis, but it is not the story that viral videos are telling. Now, sex trafficking. This is where things move closer to the rumors circulating online. Documented cases do exist of women recruited under false pretenses. Organizations like the International Organization for Migration have recorded situations in which women, primarily from Eastern Europe, Africa, and Asia, were lured with job offers as models, dancers, waitresses, or event hostesses. Upon arrival, their passports were seized and they were forced into prostitution. These cases are real. They are serious. They are completely unacceptable. But there is one absolutely critical detail that viral videos deliberately leave out. These are not random kidnappings of tourists off the street. They are organized recruitment schemes that operate before the journey even begins in the victims' home countries. Women are targeted, often through social media or trusted contacts, long before they ever board a plane. And, in terms of scale, estimates from international organizations speak of hundreds to a few thousand victims per year across the entire UAE. That number is far too high. Each one represents a real human tragedy. But when compared to the 16 to 17 million tourists who visit Dubai every year, this is not the mass epidemic of tourist kidnappings that the viral narrative implies. Part 3. The statistics nobody mentions. The numbers are deeply uncomfortable for those who want to keep the myth alive, because the real data tells a very different story. Dubai receives between 16 and 17 million tourists per year. Approximately 30% are women traveling alone or in small groups. That comes to roughly 5 million female tourists every single year. Now, the crime statistics. According to official UAE crime data and international safety indices, Dubai's homicide rate is 0.3 per 100,000 people. To put that into perspective, the United States sits at 6.3, Mexico City at 16, London at 1.2, Barcelona at 1.8. Dubai consistently ranks among the safest major cities in the world when it comes to violent crime. Additionally, multiple Western embassies were consulted as part of the research behind this video. The US Embassy, the British Embassy, the Australian Embassy. Not one of them reports patterns of missing Western female tourists in Dubai. And here is perhaps the most powerful observation of all. If thousands of Western women were genuinely disappearing in Dubai, wouldn't their governments be issuing official travel bans, conducting diplomatic investigations, making international headlines? The silence is deafening, because it is simply not happening at the scale the internet suggests. Part 4. Why do people believe it? If the data shows that Dubai is relatively safe, why does this myth remain so powerful? Why do millions of people accept it as fact without questioning anything? There are 5 main reasons. The first reason is cultural anxiety. Dubai is fundamentally different from Western countries. It is an Islamic emirate with laws that, to many tourists, feel alien and even intimidating. In Dubai, a person can end up arrested for things that wouldn't raise an eyebrow back home. Intimate relations outside of marriage can be illegal. Public displays of affection are prohibited. Consuming alcohol without a license is punishable by law. Clothing deemed indecent can carry legal consequences. And criticizing Islam or the royal family online can lead to arrest. When a country's legal system feels unpredictable and severe, the human imagination naturally fills in the gaps with worst-case scenarios. And that becomes very fertile ground for rumors. The second reason is the amplification effect. When something actually does happen, even a single isolated incident, social media amplifies it until it seems like a widespread epidemic. Algorithms prioritize fear-based content because fear drives clicks, and clicks drive revenue. One person's bad experience becomes, "This is happening to everyone." The third reason is confirmation bias. Once someone believes Dubai is dangerous, their brain filters reality to confirm that belief. The millions of positive travel stories get ignored. The one terrifying account is the one that gets remembered and reshared. The fourth reason is a mix of prejudice and old stereotypes. There's an uncomfortable truth that few people want to say out loud. Some of these narratives feed on deeply rooted stereotypes about Arab men and Middle Eastern cultures. The story of Western women being enslaved by wealthy Arab sheikhs is not a new idea. It is literally an Orientalist fantasy that has existed for centuries, appearing in 19th century novels and Hollywood films, long before TikTok existed. When that underlying prejudice mixes with the dynamics of social media, the result spreads like wildfire. The fifth reason is the fear business. Some content creators deliberately exaggerate, and in some cases outright fabricate stories, because terror sells. I almost got kidnapped in Dubai. Gets 100 times more clicks than I went to Dubai. It was interesting, but you need to respect the local customs. Sensationalism is a profitable business model, and audiences, without realizing it, finance it every single time they click. Part 5. The real risks. Now, the fact that the mass kidnapping myth is largely false does not mean Dubai is risk-free. Real dangers exist, and every traveler should understand them. The first real risk is fraudulent job offers. This is the most important one. If someone receives an unsolicited message offering modeling work, hostess positions, dancing jobs, or promotional roles in Dubai with suspiciously generous pay, extreme caution is required. The warning signs include being contacted through a social media direct message rather than official channels, vague job descriptions, requests to bring friends along, offers to hold the passport for safekeeping, no verifiable company information, and pressure to make a decision quickly. Any legitimate offer can withstand being verified. A real company has official registration. A real offer does not disappear if someone asks for time to do their research. The second real risk is legal vulnerability. This is perhaps the most well-documented and serious risk for female travelers in Dubai. In 2016, a British woman reported being sexually assaulted in Dubai. She was arrested. The charge, having relations outside of marriage and consuming alcohol. In 2017, a Swedish woman reported a rape. She was accused of illegal consensual relations and faced prison time. Both cases sparked international outrage. The women were eventually pardoned, but the pattern is clear and deeply concerning. The legal system can turn a victim into a defendant. The third real risk is harassment in public spaces. Many female travelers report experiences of persistent street harassment, unsolicited propositions in hotels and shopping malls, inappropriate physical contact in crowded areas, and being photographed without consent. Dubai is statistically safe when it comes to violent crime, but harassment is a reality that many women encounter. The fourth real risk is drink spiking. As with any major tourist destination that has an active nightlife scene, there are reports of incidents in clubs and bars. It is not unique to Dubai, but it is worth being aware of. The fifth real risk is cultural misunderstandings with legal consequences. A British tourist was detained for touching a man's hip in a bar. People have been imprisoned for social media posts critical of the government. Couples have been arrested for kissing in public. These are not kidnappings, but they are real situations that can turn a vacation into a nightmare in a matter of minutes. Part 6. Practical Safety Guide. For anyone planning to visit Dubai, here is a set of evidence-based safety measures grounded in reality, not in panic. Before traveling, register the trip with the relevant embassy. Research UAE laws thoroughly, because what is perfectly normal at home may be illegal there. Get comprehensive travel insurance. Share the itinerary with trusted people back home. Download the embassy's emergency app. While there, always keep the original passport in personal possession. Hotels are allowed to photocopy it, but the document should never leave its owner's hands. Maintain regular contact with family or friends. Be extremely cautious about any job offers, even ones that appear legitimate. Dress conservatively outside the main tourist areas. Avoid public displays of affection. Do not post anything critical about the UAE, Islam, or the royal family on social media. Keep a close eye on drinks in bars and clubs. Stay aware of surroundings at all times. And trust instincts. If something does not feel right, leave. If something goes wrong, contact the embassy immediately. Document everything. Do not sign anything that is not fully understood. Request a lawyer, and be careful about what is said to police. especially regarding personal relationships, alcohol consumption, or anything else that might be considered illegal under local law. These are precautions worth taking in any foreign country. But in Dubai, they carry extra weight. Part 7. The full picture. So what is the final verdict? Dubai is not a lawless hellhole where women are kidnapped left and right. That is viral fiction. It is a narrative built on a handful of real cases, a great deal of fear, a good measure of cultural bias, and an algorithm that rewards panic. Every year, millions of women visit Dubai. The overwhelming majority return home with incredible photos, unique experiences, and no incidents worth reporting. But it is also not the perfect crime-free utopia that the official tourism machine wants the world to believe. The real issues are these: a legal system that can criminalize victims of assault, trafficking networks that operate in the shadows and target vulnerable people, not random tourists, a cultural and legal environment that can trap unwary travelers, and harassment that many women genuinely experience in public spaces. The truth does not live at either extreme of the debate. It is not in the viral video claiming all tourists disappear, nor is it in the travel agency brochure painting Dubai as the safest place in the universe. The truth lives in the nuance, in the data, in knowledge. And knowing the truth, even when it is uncomfortable and complex, is infinitely more useful than fear. Conclusion. So, final answer. Are female tourists being kidnapped in Dubai at alarming rates? No. That is largely a myth, fueled by the fear algorithm, by a handful of real cases blown entirely out of proportion, and by cultural stereotypes that have been circulating for centuries. Is Dubai completely safe with zero risks? Also no. Like any major city in the world, it has its dangers, and its specific legal and cultural environment creates unique risks that Western travelers need to understand before they arrive. The key is to travel smart, not scared. Do the research, learn the laws, take reasonable precautions. Trust your gut. Dubai can be an extraordinary experience for anyone who arrives with their eyes wide open. Have you ever been to Dubai? What was your experience like? Leave it in the comments below. And if this video helped clear things up, share it. The best weapon against misinformation is knowledge. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Until then, travel informed, stay curious, and don't believe everything you see on TikTok. See you in the next one.